Leo, here is your compass for 22 to 30 September 2025. You like life bold and bright. You like the sun on your face, the crowd in your corner, and a goal that gets your heart pumping. This 9-day window is tailor-made for that spirit, but it asks you to play like a champion who knows the rulebook, keeps receipts, and edits the plan while it is still on the drawing board. Picture a stage manager who is also the star. That is you this week. Your fire is strong, but the script in your hand is made of very fine paper. Handle it with care and you will set the room aglow, not aflame. Let us start with the sky map in simple words. The Sun and Mercury travel together in Virgo, which for you is the second house of money, values, voice, and everyday choices. Mercury is in its own sign, very strong for writing, counting, and system work. Mercury was hidden in the glare of the sun for most of this period and becomes clear again on the 30th. Think of a bright flashlight pointed at a ledger. You can see the page, but if you write too quickly, the ink smears. From the 30th, the light becomes softer and the handwriting becomes clean. The Sun in Virgo loves honest effort and clean craft. It asks for proof, not claims. Venus moves through Leo in your first house with Ketu. This is like wearing a beautiful jacket with the label torn off. It looks excellent, but the quiet part is the best part. Venus crossed from Magha into Purva Phalguni on the 25th. In Magha, the flavor was royal backbone, a tie to your lineage and standards. In Purva Phalguni, the flavor is warm welcome, art, romance, style, and the pleasure of creating. Ketu next to Venus trims the extra decoration and leaves the pure line. Your charm grows when you remove what is not essential. Mars is in Libra in your third house of skill, hands and message. It moved over Swati after an ecliptic crossing on the 23rd. Swati moves like wind through bamboo. It bends, it learns, it negotiates. Mars here is the brave student who enjoys practice. The special angles from Mars reach your work routines and your career track, so training, demos, and small experiments ripple out into large gains. Keep every change reversible and versioned, like saving copies of each draft. Jupiter is in Gemini in your 11th house of gains and networks. This is the teacher standing on a balcony calling down to the marketplace. You benefit most when you share useful knowledge and make it simple. On the 29th and 30th, the moon moves through Sagittarius in your 5th house and faces Jupiter across the sky. That is a golden bridge between your creative mind and your audience. Saturn and Neptune are both in Pisces in your 8th house of shared resources, risk, taxes, and the need to do the right thing even when no one is watching. Saturn is retrograde, which means the lesson goes inward. Neptune adds mist and music to the same room. Together they ask for faith plus proof. They also cast a clear, sober look at your 2nd house, where the Sun and Mercury sit. The message is simple. Count honestly, report exactly. Promise only what you can measure and deliver. Uranus is in Taurus in your 10th house of career and standing. Uranus brings upgrades, innovation, and the urge to replace old parts. It throws a special angle toward Mars in your 3rd house, like an engineer calling to a field tester. Try new tools. Keep an eye on safety. Make changes in steps, not leaps. Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn in your 6th house of daily work and health. This is deep, clean energy. It is the quiet inspector who turns the light on under the sink. If there is a slow drip, you will find it. Rahu is in Aquarius in your 7th house of partners and public. Ketu is in Leo in your 1st house. The axis runs right through you. It is the mirror between this is who I am and this is who I am with you. The public may want a little show, but your best power comes from calm truth. You do not need to push to be seen. Just be accurate, be steady, and be kind. Now a brief look at the nakshatras only for meaning and mood. The sun starts in Uttara Phalguni, parts 3 and 4, and then enters Hasta, parts 1 and 2. Uttara Phalguni is the spirit of agreements and friendship. It says, "I will help and I will keep my word." Hasta is the hand that crafts. It says, "Let me build it and show it." Mercury moves from Hasta parts 2 and 3 into Chitra part 1. Hasta in these parts blends desire and release, which helps you serve people without losing your own peace. Chitra is the architect's star. It loves strong design and clear structure. Venus travels through Purva Phalguni parts 1 and 2 after the 25th. This star is a couch, a hammock, a rose. It wants warmth, art, and rest. And in the first 2 parts, it asks for purpose and resources to sustain that warmth. Mars in Swati parts 1 and 2 is the flexible warrior who wins by moving smart, by adjusting price and plan. Jupiter sits in Punarvasu part 3, which is the returning arrow. You try again, and it works. Saturn and Neptune sit in Uttara Bhadrapada part 1, the deep water of duty, the old house on the shore that we repair over many seasons. Uranus stays in Kritika part 4, the cutting blade that trims what is outworn. Pluto stays in Uttara Ashadha part 4, the oath to do what is right in the work. The moon dances across many stars during the week, and the important moments are its fall into Scorpio for a short spell on the 26th, and its bright exchange with Jupiter on the 29th and 30th. That is the map. Now let us turn it into guidance you can use. The big picture is about strong fire guided by careful craft. Think of yourself as a master chef running a busy kitchen. The Sun and Mercury in the second house give you the recipe card and the measure spoons. Saturn and Neptune across the table check the hygiene, the storage, and the labeling. Venus with Ketu in the first house dresses you in a clean apron with your name stitched in a plain font. You look sharp without trying. Mars in the third house hands you a new knife. Uranus in the 10th sends in a new oven. Jupiter in the 11th seat fills the dining room with people who want to taste what you cook. Pluto in the 6th says, "Scrub the pans." No shortcuts. In plain words, this window is for tightening your message, rebuilding small systems, and bringing beauty to the simple things you do each day. Numbers matter. Words matter. Proof matters. The creative expression is not blocked, it is refined. The strong moment for public teaching, publishing, and outreach appears at the end when Mercury clears and the moon faces Jupiter. The soft spot is the short spell when the moon walks through Scorpio. Use that for deeper cleaning, not for show. Numerology complements this arc. The 22nd carries the mind of unconventional thinking, while Monday is guided by the moon. That blend invites reordering and calm. The 23rd carries Mercury's nervous spark, while Tuesday belongs to Mars. You can act on ideas with skill. The 27th is the last major 9-day of the year, full of Mars tone on a Saturday shaped by Saturn. It loves closure, courage with discipline, and clearing what is finished. The 30th is a Jupiter tone blended with Tuesday's Mars. Wisdom pushes into action, and Mercury becomes visible. Sign, seal, and share what you can back with evidence. Your mood this week is a mixture of sparkle and seriousness. It's like sunlight falling on a workbench. You feel seen when you are useful. You feel proud when a memo is clean and a spreadsheet makes sense. The presence of Venus with Ketu gives you a quiet grace. You might want fewer photos and more real moments. It's not about applause. It's about truth and quality. That's a very Leo kind of greatness. At times, with Saturn and Neptune sitting in the 8th house, you may feel like you carry weight for others, or that your private worries swim in deep water. When that happens, breathe like a swimmer who knows the rhythm of the waves. Do one check, then one repair, then one kind action. You don't have to fix the whole sea. You only have to honor the little ship you steer each day. Mars in the 3rd house brings a playful edge to your mind. You learn by doing. Short tasks that let you try a tool or a phrase will please your heart. If a message fails, you adjust. Remember the Swati wind. It is strong because it moves. If a meeting turns into a tug of war, change the frame to a small joint test. Instead of arguing about the bridge, build a plank and cross once. If it holds, extend it. The delicate emotional patch is when the moon is in Scorpio on the 26th. That is the 4th house for you. A hidden worry about home or safety can rise. It is normal. Use that day to tidy the base of life. Sort drawers, back up files, cancel subscriptions, clean a corner of the kitchen, and rest away from bright noise. A kettle that whistles too long should be pulled from the flame. After that, the moon lifts and your heart lifts with it. You will feel a strong pull to teach, share, or publish at the end of the window. The mutual gaze of Moon and Jupiter lights up your 5th and 11th houses. It is like two hills sending lantern signals to each other. Your creativity starts a conversation with your community. Do not make it grand. Make it helpful. A short guide, a simple class, or a clean demo lands better than a giant promise. Your career picture is full of smart tweaks and real upgrades. Uranus in Taurus in the 10th house encourages change that lasts. But Uranus is a scientist, not a gambler. It wants experiments you can measure. Mars in the 3rd house is your partner in this. It angles into the 10th from the side, like a friend whispering, "Try this setting." Together, they push for pilot projects, early prototypes, and options A, B, and C, rather than a single point of no return. If your field involves technology, design, media, service, or research, the benefit is strong. Even in other fields, the method applies. Propose a short trial. Define how you will judge success. Keep a rollback path in case it does not work. This makes you look brave and wise at once. Saturn retrograde in the 8th house watches over shared work, budgets, and risk. It looks about as friendly as a stern auditor. Do not fear it. Welcome it. Build checklists. Add a second pair of eyes on high-impact decisions. Keep a simple decision log. 3 columns are enough. What we decided, why we decided, who is responsible. Neptune sits next to Saturn and can make you feel dreamy about a project's future. Let Neptune add compassion and design sense. Let Saturn provide the stop lines. In simple terms, share the vision and also show the steps. The Sun and Mercury in the 2nd house polish your voice at work. The 2nd house is not just money, it is the mouth. You are asked to speak clearly, politely, and briefly, then attach evidence. If you write daily updates, make them tight. If you forecast, include ranges and limits. If you sell, let service carry the pitch. Remember that Mercury becomes clear on the last day of this window. That shift opens a smooth path for final approvals, contracts, changes in pricing, and offers that rely on precise wording. Jupiter in the 11th house favors the social side of your profession. This brings introductions, referrals, and group wins. When the moon faces Jupiter at the end of the period, present something that teaches and helps. It might be a write-up of a lesson you learned, a set of templates others can use, or an explanation of a problem that your team solved. The 11th house says your success grows when you help more people succeed. Conjunctions paint the finer strokes. Venus with Ketu in your 1st house can change how colleagues see you. Your style becomes simple, clean, and compelling. People may say, "There is something different. I cannot tell what, but I trust this." Sun with Mercury in the 2nd house gives you the voice of a responsible adult. Saturn with Neptune in the 8th house can make you the calm person in complex financial or legal steps. If you lead a team, model calm checklists. If you are an individual contributor, be the person who writes the point-form summary after a meeting. Your name becomes linked with clarity. A simple work example shows the tone. Suppose you manage a product. You want to change a feature. Mars in the 3rd says, ship 2 versions to a small group. Uranus in the 10th says, measure performance and satisfaction. Saturn in the 8th says, document the risk and the approval. Mercury in the 2nd says, write a short note with the numbers and the next step. Venus with Ketu says, present it in a clean slide or one perfectly formatted page. Jupiter in the 11th says, share what you learned with the community. This flow turns a brave idea into a professional win. Money matters are steady and reward clean habits. With the Sun and Mercury in Virgo in your 2nd house, you are asked to make your values match your spending. In practice, that means you count, you categorize, and you speak honestly about costs. Because Saturn and Neptune face the 2nd house, every sloppy claim is called out. If you keep your records in good shape, you win trust. If you sort receipts and automate small flows, you gain time. If you make promises backed by numbers, you build a brand that pays. Jupiter in the 11th house is a classic sign of gains through community. Revenue can grow when you teach, publish, coach, mentor, or launch content that solves common problems. The special link between the Moon and Jupiter at the end of the window turns this up. If you work for yourself, offer a mini course or a simple paid guide. If you are employed, share knowledge inside your company and let managers see that you elevate others. Gains are not only cash, they are also influence and goodwill. Jupiter loves both. Mars in the 3rd house angles toward the 6th and the 10th. This brings small costs for tools or training that later increase income. Spend on the wrench that makes your work faster. Invest in a short class that teaches you a practical method. Because Uranus is in the 10th, you may also invest in modern equipment or software that replaces a slow process. Keep receipts. Keep change logs. This is how Mars turns into real gains under the eyes of Saturn. The pair of nodes across your 1st and 7th houses plays a part in money as well. Rahu in the 7th loves to sell and network. Ketu in the 1st cleans your self-image. That is perfect for ethical business. You can be visible in partnership and modest in self-promotion at the same time. Choose work that speaks for itself. Choose contracts that allow honest exit if goals are not met. Numerology tones add color. When the weekday ruler and the number of the date are friendly, money actions are smoother. The 23rd brings the energy of action meeting skill. It is a good day for pricing models and test offers. The 27th has the courage of Mars, held steady by Saturn. It favors closing accounts, retiring debt, and canceling costs that eat value. The 30th blends wisdom and action and frees Mercury from the sun's glare. This is a fine point for signing and for sending the invoice written in clear language. Think of your finances like a garden bed. Virgo is the careful spacing of seeds and the little markers with names. Gemini in the 11th is the community garden day when everyone shares produce and recipes. Taurus in the 10th is the strong fence and the new irrigation. Capricorn in the 6th is the tool shed where everything hangs on a hook. Pisces in the 8th is the well that must be covered and cleaned. If you tend each part, the tomatoes are sweet and the pests are few. Your social world is lively, but needs gentle honesty. Rahu in Aquarius in the 7th house brings many faces and a taste for novelty. You may attract unusual partners or clients. You may receive sudden messages from people far away. The lesson is to keep your center while you explore. Ketu in Leo in the 1st house helps with that. It strips away the need to impress. You can smile and be simple. This makes you more attractive, not less. People trust those who do not try too hard. Venus in your first house adds beauty and kindness to your vibe. In Purva Falguni parts 1 and 2, the tone is loving, but also grounded. If you are in a relationship, show care through small practical acts. Cook a meal, fix a chair, offer your loved one a quiet hour without screens. If you are looking for love, meet people in low-noise settings where warmth can be felt. You do not need a grand entrance. You need one real conversation. The Sun and Mercury in your second house ask for direct and polite speech in all ties. If a boundary is needed, say it once, clearly, with respect. If a promise is made, write it down. If you feel angry, take a breath and count to 10. Saturn in the 8th prefers truth to heat. Neptune in the 8th adds empathy. That pair makes you capable of real intimacy, not a showy romance. You can talk about money and fear and past pain without drama. That is grown-up love. The moon's dip into Scorpio on the 26th can bring a wave of old feeling around family, home, or your sense of being safe. If someone close to you is moody, be gentle. If you are moody, be gentle with yourself. Tidy the nest, drink water, rest your eyes, and avoid poking old wounds that do not need to be poked. After the moon moves on, a lighter mood returns. The end of the window is friendly for groups, clubs, and teaching circles. Moon and Jupiter form a bright path between your creative mind and your community. Invite people to learn with you. Host a small discussion on a subject you know well. Share a lesson learned with grace. A simple, kind tone wins hearts faster than any flourish. Health this week is about steady rhythm. Pluto in the 6th house makes small problems visible so you can fix them. Listen for the little squeak in the wheel. Do not wait for the axle to snap. With Mars in the 3rd house, the body likes short practice more than long strain. 10 minutes of mobility twice a day does more for you than one epic session that leaves you sore. Think of your joints like door hinges. A little oil often keeps the door quiet. The Sun in the 2nd house also touches food and speech. Simple, warm meals suit you. Hydration matters. If you work at a desk or speak a lot, protect your voice with breaks and water. Mercury clearing at the end of the period eases any throat tension or mind churn you felt earlier. The moon's brief time in Scorpio can feel heavy in the body. Some people feel it as tightness in the chest or a knot in the stomach. Use that day for gentle cleaning inside and out. Light meals, fresh air, no loud social duty. If sleep has been thin, guard your bedtime with care. With Neptune in the 8th, screens and late stories can swirl the mind. Give yourself a night ritual that is simple. Turn off bright lights. Put the phone away. Write 3 sentences in a notebook about your day. Say, I am safe. Sleep. Saturn in the 8th wants long-term habits that protect your future self. If you need a checkup, book it. If you take medicine, set reminders. If you carry stress for others, practice a short release ritual. Imagine putting their bags down at a station and walking to the window empty-handed. Look out, breathe, then choose which bag you truly need to carry and how far. Your natural fire is high, so be kind to your heart with steady effort and rest. You do best when you work in focused blocks and then step away. Even a cup of tea on a balcony for 5 minutes counts as real care. Travel in this window is best when it serves learning, repair, or community. Mars in the 3rd house favors short trips for training, talks, or hands-on tasks. If you need to visit a client or a mentor, go. If you need to check a site or test a tool in the field, go. Because Uranus works in your 10th house, travel that brings a new method to your work gives extra return. Long-distance travel connects to the 9th house, which is empty but receives the 7th glance from Mars and soft notes from Neptune and Pluto by special angles. That means long trips should be planned with care and purpose. If you are considering a far journey, tie it to a clear goal. If it is only for escape, ask what you truly want to leave behind and whether there is a kinder way to do that at home first. The short emotional low when the moon is in Scorpio is not ideal for starting travel. Use it to prepare, pack, and check documents. The later days, when moon builds a bridge to Jupiter, are friendlier for trips that involve teaching, speaking, or joining with groups. Your creative light is bright and practical. Jupiter in the 11th is the wise friend who says, "Teach what you just learned." The moon's time in Sagittarius at the end of the period lights the 5th house of arts, children, and joy. That is not a call to be dramatic. It is a call to be helpful and kind. If you paint, share a tiny tutorial. If you code, publish a short script with notes. If you cook, write a recipe with every step clear. Mars in the 3rd makes practice fun. Swati's wind wants flexible skills. Learn a new keyboard shortcut. Test a different microphone. Try a layout with more white space. Venus in the 1st house helps the eye for style, but K2 cuts the fluff. It is the editor who removes one word to make the sentence sing. Use that to your advantage. Cut 3 words from each paragraph. Trim 3 steps from each process. Your creative voice becomes clean enough to carry far. The Sun and Mercury in the 2nd say that the best creativity now serves daily life. Make a template, design a checklist, record a 3-minute voice note that explains something people ask you often. This is art for work, art for service, art that helps the village run better. It still feels good, and it also builds your name. Karma is not punishment. It is a river carrying the results of many small choices. This week, the river asks for humility and evidence. The nodes across your 1st and 7th houses deal with old patterns of me versus we. You may be offered glitter in public. You may be asked to be louder. But deeper karma asks you to be truer, not louder. When you choose calm truth, you teach the world how Leo leads, by heart and by honor. Saturn retrograde with Neptune in the 8th carries the karma of shared responsibility. In some past season, you may have taken on too much for others or looked away when details hurt your head. Now you are asked to look, but with kindness. You are the person at the table who says, "Let us read the fine print together." You are also the person who says, "We will treat each other fairly while we do so." This purifies money karma and emotional karma at the same time. The brief moon in Scorpio is the karma of deep water, brings up old echoes around home, mother, roots, and safety. If there is grief, you do not need to fix it. Sit with it, like you sit with a friend who needs quiet company. After the wave passes, you will feel lighter. Your stamina grows as your heart lets go of stones it no longer needs to hold. The 9-day on the 27th is the karma of closure and courage. It is the last call to free space, to end a pattern, to honor an old promise by finishing it. This is not a harsh goodbye. It is a mature thank you. Imagine a warrior returning a borrowed sword, polished and wrapped in cloth. You are that warrior. The final day, when Mercury becomes clear and the moon speaks with Jupiter, is karma of teaching and truth. If you do the small, honest work earlier in the window, this day feels like a reward. You speak and people listen. You sign and the road opens. You publish and it helps someone you may never meet. That is good karma in action. You are Leo. You are the sun on the horizon after a long night. In this period, you lead by precision, kindness, and proof. Keep your words short and clean. Keep your books honest. Keep your pilots small and your rollbacks ready. Let your style be simple. Let your charm be quiet. You will be surprised how far that carries you. When you feel the world ask for a louder show, smile and offer a better service. When you feel doubt about shared money or a complex agreement, slow down and ask for a check. When you want to create, focus on useful beauty. When you seek love, look for the person who likes silence with you. When you need rest, take it. A lion who sleeps well, hunts well. If you want a one-sentence mantra for this window, here it is. I make it real. I make it kind. I make it clear. Say it before you write, before you speak, before you decide. Your fire burns brightest when it lights a path for others. Your greatness grows when you build things that last. This week gives you the tools, the tests, and the timing. Use them with your full heart. The people who matter will see you. And more important than being seen, you will see yourself. Steady and strong, walking forward with the sun at your back and clean work in your hands.